The first mistake was thinking Naoya Inoue was just another name on a fight poster. The second mistake was saying it out loud. In boxing, confidence walks a thin line with arrogance. More than a few fighters have crossed it when standing across from the quiet man from Japan. They smirked at his size, laughed at his accent, butchered his name on purpose, and convinced themselves that power like his couldn't possibly follow a frame that small. To them, he looked like something manageable, something they could bully, taunt, or outmuscle. What they didn't understand was that Naoya Inoue doesn't respond to disrespect with words. He answers it with violence so precise and unforgiving that by the time the lesson sinks in, the fight is already over. They call him the monster, not because he talks like one, but because he fights like something beyond human logic. From the opening bell, Inoue operates with a cold efficiency that feels less like aggression and more like inevitability. Every step, every punch, every adjustment feels calculated, like a chess grandmaster who already knows how the game ends. And for the men who mocked him, that ending was always brutal. One of the first to learn this the hard way strutted into the ring brimming with confidence, believing the moment was his. He hadn't boxed in nearly a year, yet he carried himself like the outcome was already written in his favor. Inoue wasted no time dismantling that illusion. From the opening exchanges, he identified the flaw immediately. The guard was loose, the footwork sluggish, the reaction slow. To Inoue, it was like discovering a perfectly still target begging to be hit. The punches came sharp and deliberate, snapping through the air with a sound that echoed through the arena. This wasn't reckless brawling. It was surgical destruction. The opponent tried to smile, tried to taunt, tried to play games, not realizing that Inoue feeds on those moments. The smile was meant to unsettle him. Instead, it became a countdown. Seconds later, the ring was raining fists, and the man who once grinned now clung to survival. 2 rounds later, it was over. The confession came after, spoken with the humility that only pain can teach. He had never faced anything like Inoue before. No one ever has. Still, the mockery didn't stop. Western fighters, familiar with Japan's boxing culture, continued to underestimate him. One British challenger openly ridiculed Inoue's name, laughing about how difficult it was to pronounce, dismissing the champion as an afterthought. He didn't know who he was, he said. He still didn't know his name. That ignorance would last less than a round. The Brit tried to use his height, extending jabs, attempting to keep the fight long and safe. For a moment, it looked like a plan. But Inoue doesn't need long to decode distance. He slipped inside with ease, his feet gliding forward, his body already positioned for damage. The first clean shot snapped the illusion in half. The second shattered it completely. Once Inoue found the range, pride disappeared. Legs wobbled. The ropes became a trap instead of a refuge. Each punch carried a weight that didn't match the division power that seemed illegal for 118 pounds. The British fighter sagged under the pressure, eyes glazing as combinations poured in. By the time the referee stepped between them, the man who mocked Inoue's name looked like he had forgotten his own. But perhaps the most personal destruction came when disrespect crossed a line outside the ring at a pre-fight workout. Emotions flared, and Rodriguez's trainer aggressively shoved Shingo Inoue. Naoya's father and lifelong coach, Naoya didn't react. He didn't shout. He didn't escalate. He stood there with his arms folded, eyes calm, knowing exactly what was coming. 24 hours later, that shove would be repaid with interest. When the bell rang, Inoue came out hard. Rodriguez, fueled by his own confidence, refused to step back. For a brief moment, it was chaos, both men trading shots in a macho display of defiance. Rodriguez believed he could stand toe-to-toe. He believed wrong. Inoue's punches to the body landed with a sickening thud, rib-breaking shots that hollowed a man out from the inside. Rodriguez tried to respond, tried to prove he belonged, but every exchange took more from him than it gave. Then came the shot upstairs. Clean. Perfect. Devastating. Rodriguez hit the canvas, shock written across his face. He got up. He always got up. But each time, Inoue made sure the price increased. Body shots followed him like a curse, digging deeper, turning breath into agony. By the third knockdown, there was no mystery left. This wasn't a contest. It was a punishment. When the referee finally waved it off, Rodriguez looked like someone who needed rebuilding, not a rematch. The message was clear. Disrespect didn't just lose you the fight, it earned you suffering. Months later, another challenger stepped forward, confident, accomplished, dangerous on paper. It didn't matter. Inoue went straight to business, his left hook landing with the authority of a heavyweight. One exchange was all it took. A blink. A flash. A body stiffened, as if struck by lightning. Saved by the bell, the opponent staggered back to his corner, knowing what awaited him in the next round. It didn't take long. A left hook to the body brought the crowd to its feet. The next one folded him completely, shredding his liver, forcing him to kneel and surrender. Survival became impossible. The fight ended not with drama, but with certainty. Then came 2018 and the World Boxing Super Series, a stage built for legends. Juan Carlos Piano entered as an aggressor, pressing forward, testing the waters. For a split second, it looked like he might make this interesting. That second was all he got. Inoue's counter came fast and merciless. A combination so sharp, it felt unreal. Piano collapsed where he stood, sent into unconsciousness before his body could process what had happened. The arena froze, then erupted. It was over in the opening moments, a knockout so devastating it would be named Ring Magazine's Knockout of the Year. Piano became the first man ever stopped like that. His tournament ending before it had a chance to begin. It wasn't just a win, it was a warning to everyone watching. Still are fighters who believe they can find the flaw. Ramon Cardenas was one of them. With 26 wins in 27 fights, he stepped into the ring knowing this was the biggest test of his life. From the start, Inoue began probing, smearing his opponent's defenses with jabs and grazing shots, measuring reactions, collecting data. Cardenas showed flashes, timing counters, trying to disrupt the rhythm. For a moment, it worked. Then the fight turned serious. Cardenas stood his ground, replying 2 punches, pressing forward. It annoyed Inoue. The champion began opening up, giving less regard to defense, pushing the pace. That's when it happened. A left hook from Cardenas caught Inoue clean, sending him crashing to the canvas. The arena gasped. Shock ripped